Okay, so this video is going to be a short introduction to cellular respiration. We are going to create a model over the next few videos of aerobic respiration, showing the flow of energy and matter. That means like chemicals, carbon, oxygen, etc., in and out of the cell. So what do you need to know? You need to know the steps of cellular respiration and the efficiency at each step. In other words, how much ATP or how much energy are we making at each step? Cellular respiration, the definition is making energy from food. So that is the process that we are about to undergo. There are two places we get food. First, these are the foods that we eat, and they include carbohydrates, which we've already learned about, proteins, which we've learned about, fats, which we've learned about, and nucleic acids. And all of those are in our food. Also, remember, we have plants, and plants are going to undergo photosynthesis, and they're going to make their own food. Okay, so we're going to take this food from the plant, which comes in the form of C6H12O6 or glucose. And we're going to take these carbs, which also can be broken down into C6H12O6, and we are going to break that down for energy. So sugar is C6H12O6, which we've already discussed. So this is a 6-carbon sugar, and I have highlighted the carbons in gray. This is going to be important because we are going to use those carbons in order to drive this train, okay? Now, there's also oxygens attached to this. There's 6 of those, and then there are 12 hydrogens, which we're also going to use, okay? But at this point, the carbons are really the most important. So what is the goal of cellular respiration? Well, we said making energy from food, but more specifically, our goal is to convert the sugar. So I just drew a picture of the sugar to ATP. All right, because ATP is the energy and sugar is the chemical that we are going to begin with. Now, these other things, proteins, fats, and nucleic acids, we are indeed going to be able to add those into the cycle as we go, but basic cellular respiration is going to start with the sugars. So if we're starting with sugar, I made a little picture here. So sugar, glucose, is C6H12O6. We can just write glucose right in here if we need to. Plus 6 O2, that's oxygen, and I just made like a little cloud, makes 6 water, H2O, that's a water droplet, 6 carbon dioxide. So carbon dioxide is basically our oxygen cloud with a carbon attached, and ATP. This is our overall formula for cellular respiration. All right? Now, there are going to be 4 steps, and that's what the next videos are going to walk through, each of the 4 steps. But before we move on to that video, I'm just going to go ahead and list those steps here, and then we're going to talk about each one of the steps more in depth. So the first step is glycolysis, and it's literally, if you divide this up, glyco, which means sugar, and lysis, which means to break. So this is essentially where we're going to take our sugar and break it in half, okay? Step number 2 is the citric acid cycle, or Krebs. Now, prior to the citric acid cycle, we have to do a little thing where we add in oxygen and make citric acid to start with. So it's a little extra step that has to happen right here, but it involves oxygen, so I don't like to put it with glycolysis, which is called pyruvate oxidation, E. All right, now this has to happen before the citric acid cycle can happen. However, most people don't consider it like a separate step in and of itself because essentially we're just adding some oxygen to it. But we're going to explain that a little bit later. And then the third step, and I know that previously I said there were 4 steps, but a lot of people don't consider pyruvate oxidation a separate step. So we're just going to go ahead and learn 3 steps. All right. And then the last step is the electron transport chain, ETC. And this is where the rubber hits the road. Basically, this is where we are taking all of these high energy compounds that we made earlier and converting those into ATP. So we're going to learn more about each one of these as we go, but this is just an overall roadmap for you.